Welcome into the FNIA podcast, fellas. It is mock draft season, and we weren't just going to let this drive past us without us getting some picks on the board. You know, two legends of the game right there, Rodney Harrison and Tony Dungy in the middle. So these are the picks we will make today. It's the top 15. Rodney will go first overall with the Tennessee Titans. Coach will have the Cleveland Browns, and I will pick it up with the New York Giants. We'll then flip the order. Rodney jumps right back in with his Patriots, and so on and so forth. So on the clock, the Tennessee Titans.
On the clock. I like it.
Rodney Harrison.
Impressive.
With the first overall pick. Who shall Tennessee take, Rod?
Well, the Tennessee Titans, they're on the clock, but not for very long because this is an easy one. I'm going Cam Ward. He's the most talented quarterback in the draft. To me, this is a no-brainer. He's a good kid. He comes in. Right now, he's your day one starter. No longer do you have to deal with Will Levis and the ups and downs and inconsistent play of Will Levis. Put all your efforts into Cam Ward. He should be the number one pick for the Titans.
Well, I like that pick. And, you're picking need. And I do think it's kind of a consensus that Ward is the best quarterback in this draft. And that makes the most sense. I'm kind of delighted sitting there at Cleveland. I'm happy you took him. I need a quarterback, but I got some other things in mind too, Jack.
All right, Coach. Number 2 overall, the Cleveland Browns.
You got to have an opinion on that pick now.
Yeah, I think that's like the consensus now. It's almost like it feels to me, Coach, like the draft is starting at pick number 2. You know, I think the positional value of quarterback, like Will Levis, I grew up in Kentucky. I watched a ton of UK Wildcats football. I never really thought of Will Levis as a top quarterback. Watching him play in college, it really didn't materialize in that way in the NFL. You have to make your decision now and move beyond that. So I think he makes the most sense. And you make the pick and you go. And I think that's where Tennessee is right now. So I think the draft
Coach,
kind of too. Go ahead.
Hey,
Ryan.
Coach, one thing. Your pick, this number 2 pick by the Cleveland Browns will set the tone for the entire draft.
Yeah,
because we know what their need is, but will they go with their need or will they go with the best player available? I'm excited to hear what you got.
Well, I'm sitting there. I'm excited. If I'm Cleveland, I'm excited, Rodney, that you took Cam Ward because if I had the number 1 pick in Cleveland, then there would be a big debate. We need a quarterback. Ward's the best guy. I love Abdul Carter, and I feel like putting him opposite of Myles Garrett. I got a combo that's going to be in step and putting pressure on people for a long time. But my people know, and my fans say, you need a quarterback. So my dilemma now is Shedeur Sanders, the next guy on the list, versus Abdul Carter. Do I go need or versus that best player? I think Carter is the best player there, so that's who I'm going to take. We'll have a big debate about it. My offensive coaches will be upset, but this guy is going to be a trend center. I'm taking Abdul Carter.
Oh, my goodness. This is what I mean about you guys. Cleveland doesn't have a quarterback. It has Kenny Pickett as its quarterback. This is a kid that can't stay healthy. This is a kid that's been up and down. He's got some talent, but you got Shedeur Sanders sitting there waiting to be drafted, and you don't pick him. I just don't get it. This is a need. You can go get Abdul Carter. You can have the best defense in the NFL, Coach, but if you don't have a quarterback, somebody that gives this team some sense of hope, then you're going to struggle. And I don't care how good that defense is, but if I got opportunity, whether Shedeur is at 2, 7, 8, I'm grabbing what I need, and that's a young quarterback.
Yeah. See, I don't put him in that category of that can't miss guy. So I think Carter is a can't miss guy. I don't want to blow this at number 2. What I would actually be doing if I was the Cleveland Browns, I would take my whole 15 minutes up and I'd wait and I'd hope the Giants call me. I'd hope the Giants are in love with Shedeur and they call me and give me a couple of picks to flip down one spot. Then I would do that. But if I have to sit there and draft, I'm taking that surefire guy and I'm saying, you know what, we're going to be a great defense. People are going to have a lot of trouble handling us. And I'll get my quarterback down the line. Matter of fact, I've got my eye on a couple of these quarterbacks down the line like I had my eye on Bo Nix last year.
Oh, he does. Sometimes he waits and then he gets his quarterback at a later moment. Okay, I like that. Coach, the thing that makes me think you're right is Myles Garrett. He was demanding a trade. He wanted to get out of Cleveland. and he's really putting his foot down in the contract negotiations. And then he mentioned after a meeting with the front office, some of the ownership, some of the coaches, that he heard who the pick was going to be. And that made him feel more comfortable about signing and being a part of Cleveland for the long term. It would make sense to me that they would tell him, we're thinking about taking Carter number 2. That's going to bring a lot of those double teams away from you, at least make it harder to double team you. We'll have 2 great guys coming off the edge. And if
you don't have a quarterback.
Right, I agree. Right, I agree.
So you go get all these defensive ends and these pass rushers and stuff, and you guys just completely ignore a young quarterback that, to me, should be a top 5 pick. I think Shedeur is definitely worthy of a top 5 pick. I mean, a lot of people say what they want to say about his personality. I mean, this is a kid that didn't grow up poor. He grew up with his father. I mean, it's not like he's got this sad story, anything like that. I just think that he's a talented kid. I think a few people that didn't know him put some bad stuff out there, and now people are hesitant. But then you talk about leadership. You talk about a kid that understands the spotlight, a kid that can come in and help continue to build your locker room. I think this is look, I love Abdul Carter. No question about it, Coach. I think he's good enough to be the number 1 pick, but you don't need him. You need a quarterback. You need something that's going to give those guys hope in that locker room. And if you don't get that, they're going to continue to struggle. They're not making the playoffs because they go out and get Abdul Carter. I don't believe that.
Well, let me ask you this. If you're Jack now, you're sitting at the number 3 spot. Before I make my pick, are you calling me because you need a quarterback too with the Giants? Are you calling me to get that pick and take Shedeur?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was something that I was thinking about in the offseason. I'm like, if I'm the Giants, you got to put that call in because you need a quarterback as well. And what sense does it make for them to get Abdul Carter when they need a quarterback? So Shedeur should go either 2 or 3 to the Cleveland Browns or to the Giants, I believe, Jack.
Well, I think that this is actually how it's going to go. So I think Carter, to Coach's point, is going to go number 2. Now, whether he should or shouldn't, I actually am more in the camp of Rodney. I would have taken Shedeur. They didn't. So now I get the opportunity to. I will. I'm going to take him right there at 3. I don't want to live in this land of I like Russell Wilson. I don't want him to be my future. I like Jameis Winston. I don't want him to be my future. It's fun to have them on my roster, maybe even early in the season. I'll play them, see how it goes while I'm letting Shedeur get ready. But he proved it to me in some of those late games. You know, it wasn't the best teams he was on, even if you go prior to Colorado, but at Colorado, bad offensive line at times. They're down. He has to bring them with these late, fourth quarter into half drives. And his ability to put those together, to me, it's this. I really like his mental makeup. I like that going into a team that struggled too. And I would believe in Shedeur Sanders as my quarterback. He's mobile enough to get away and buy me some extra time. But I think he has the mental makeup of an NFL quarterback. And for that reason, I am in on Shedeur Sanders. Rodney, your thoughts at pick 3?
Absolutely. I love Shedeur Sanders. And once again, these guys, the Travis Hunters and Abdul Carters, these are supremely talented young men. But at the end of the day, they can't throw the ball. They can't hand it off. And you need a quarterback. And that's just the bottom line. And you think Dave Ball I think he would do an excellent job with Shedeur because Shedeur is still raw. I mean, he's a smart kid, but Dave Ball would really invest time into that kid and I think bring him around.
Mm-hmm.
And you do. I know this is a quarterback-driven league, and you got to have quarterbacks. And when you don't have a quarterback, that puts you into that high-need mode. We've got to go. But here's what my philosophy was, and I learned this from Bill Poland and all the guys. When you're drafting in the top 5, you cannot afford to miss. If you miss with a top 5 pick, it sets you back for a long time. So I'm picking a 2, 3, 4. I'm picking the can't-miss guy. Now, hopefully the can't-miss guy is a quarterback.
Yeah.
I love Shedeur. I don't think he's can't-miss. I do think that Abdul Carter is can't-miss. And so
I don't think Cam Ward can't miss. You think Cam Ward can't miss?
No, I agree. I agree with you. I agree. And how often have we seen this at quarterback? How many quarterbacks have we seen over the last 20 years that were picked number 1 because they were very, very good and they didn't quite get there? Okay. So that's why I'm leery of that quarterback at the top unless it's Elway Marino. It's that guy that is can't miss.
And Coach, I was thinking that because it's just a different set of circumstances with the Cleveland Browns. The fact that they're paying Deshaun Watson so much money, and you get an opportunity to get a young guy, somebody that's focused, somebody that's all about football, somebody that's engaged, and somebody that's cheap to come in and kind of wash away all the nightmares that he brought in there. So that's all I'm saying. I know Shedeur. I do believe that the second pick overall, that's high. I get it. But at the same time, you have a need. You have a team that's in straight desperation, a team where your best players, Miles, didn't even want to come back. So you got to do something.
Hey, they need the quarterback. There's no question about it. But need can sometimes force you into a mistake. And that's what I want to avoid. I don't want to take that guy just because I need him. And I don't want the fact that I need him to elevate my grade and my this guy is really, really great because I need him. I've seen that happen with quarterbacks too much. It rarely happens with other positions. Guys like Carter, Travis Hunter, they're not up there because the team needs them. They're up there because they're talented guys.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Coach, you played the position, you know the position, you've been around Hall of Famers and great ones at the position. I mean, what is your hesitation? Because I can sense there is a slight hesitation with Shedeur Sanders. What is that biggest hesitation?
I don't know if he's big enough and he's going to be physical enough to take the punishment in the NFL. I love everything else about him. The things Rodney talked about, his demeanor and that, I love it because that's what you need to succeed in the NFL as a quarterback. I love the fact that his teammates really like him and rally around him. He's smart. He knows the game. He's got a lot of things you're looking for. I just don't know if he's that surefire, sure pop guy.
It's interesting. It really is. It's a fascinating pick. Like I think about him with Malik Neighbors and with Andrew Thomas, the left tackle, and some of the young core pieces of the Giants. And could they form a winning group? And I believe the answer is yes. Is he a perfect quarterback prospect? No, I would agree with you on that. But I think with this and with his competitive nature, I just think he would work in New York. I don't know what it is. Rodney, I see you shaking your head.
No, I agree with you 100%, Jack. I mean, Coach questions his size. I don't question his toughness, his mental toughness, his physical toughness. Like you talked about, Jack, the guy had no offensive line. He was limited with weapons on the offensive side of the ball. The guy did some incredible things. He was incredibly accurate. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can be excited about. There's a lot of things that you see on tape from Shedeur that you wish Daniel Jones had, who's been in the league, a guy that's making $40 million a year. And the way, you coach this guy, you get the ball out of his hands quick, you run the football, you continue to build that offensive line, you get him another weapon, you add a tight end, and now you surround him with some really good players. But we'll see if Coach is right. I mean, he's got a lot more experience in this than I do.
No, I don't get me wrong. I love the guy. I'm just, if I'm picking in those top three and I'm giving out that big money, if there's somebody there that I just think is surefire, can't miss, and is going to be great for years, that's where I'm at. Am I going to take
just one comment you made? Big money, right? It's probably anywhere from 30 to 35 million. So it's not big money. Most starting quarterbacks are making more in 1 year than he's making in his entire contract.
You're right. I shouldn't say money. It's opportunity. Okay. So I can draft Bruce Smith or, Derek Thomas or Barry Sanders, or I can draft that quarterback that I think is going to be great, and I hope he's there, but maybe it's Mitch Trubisky.
Well, you look at Cleveland, you look at the Giants. If they don't get a quarterback, they're gonna continue to lose. They're gonna continue to miss the playoffs. They're gonna continue to say, "Man, look at our roster. We got good players, but we just don't have a quarterback." So you go right back to it, Jack. Let's move on to number 4 with the Patriots.
Jack's got a pick for your guys now.
Let's move it on, Rod, because it really is interesting with the Giants, too, because those guys are fighting for their jobs, head coach and general manager. Yep. So let's move now to a guy that just got a new job, and Coach Vrabel. Where will he be looking with a top 5 pick, right? He's been busy in free agency already.
Well, me knowing Coach Vrabel, and he played linebacker, but he also played some tight end for us. So he understands the importance of guys up front. And I hope and pray that he doesn't get caught up in the DBs and the wide receivers. Number 4, you go with Will Campbell, offensive tackle, left tackle for LSU. You go with Will Campbell. You see this kid. I mean, he comes out, he's a culture setter, he's a stud, he's a tough guy, he's a guy that can express himself. And then you think about him and Drake May, 2 young guys growing together the next decade. I mean, that's got to be exciting. And you don't have to pay this guy $25, $30 million a year, just like the Chargers went out and got their left tackle off in the draft. I think this is a surefire. You draft Will Campbell, you continue to build that offensive line, and you be able to protect Drake May. Your thoughts, Coach?
We had this discussion with the Chargers last year, and putting that offensive tackle there that's going to be that pillar for 10 years, I get it. But if I got that young quarterback that I believe in, I want to put some weapons around him. And that's where I would be. And I would be leaning a little more towards Travis Hunter. And matter of fact, I'm picking for Jacksonville next, and I'm elated. And when you took Campbell, I'm doing that and saying, yes, because I'm going to take Travis Hunter and get that weapon for my young quarterback, Trevor Lawrence.
How do you weigh that? Like, to me, those are both weapons for a young quarterback, right? Having a left tackle that's going to give him some time, having a receiver that can win. How do you weigh, Rodney, which is more valuable?
From our championships, he won a championship because his offensive line. You know who Will Campbell is? He's Jeff Saturday. That's who Will Campbell is. He's just playing left tackle. He's not playing center. Will Campbell walks in that locker room with his personality and with his experience and knowledge of college and everything. He's going to come in and be a captain or a leader in that locker room right away. He's going to be a guy that helps change that culture, and that's what they need. They don't need another corner. They need a wide receiver, but they don't need another defensive back. They need somebody up front tough that can solidify that offense or defensive line, somebody that can protect Drake May. Drake May has all this potential, but if you continue, you put weapons around him, but if he doesn't have time, he was like the most sacked quarterback of last year. So you got to put some protection. And as much as I love Travis Hunter, adding a cornerback or adding a left tackle is going to get you to the playoffs, to me, quicker than adding a corner. That's just my thoughts with a young quarterback.
Interesting. And Coach, I assume that means you're taking Hunter with the Jacksonville Jags. Is that a fact?
Yeah, I'm taking Travis Hunter, and I'm putting him at wide receiver. I'm saying you're going to get the ball, you're going to make some plays, and forget it, just playing both ways. There's no way you can do that, Rodney. I hear people talking about that. There's no way Peyton Manning is going to have him as his number 1 receiver and say, well, half the time you're going to be in the defensive meetings, you aren't going to be with us. There's no way that can work in the NFL. Yeah, but I'm taking Travis and I'm putting him at wide receiver and saying, go score me 15 touchdowns this year.
And you know what, Coach, for that Jags pick, I wasn't going to even take Travis Hunter there. I was taking Mason Graham, the young defensive lineman. See, to me, that's where when we've had Jacksonville, they've always struggled up front in that defensive tackle area. They got Trayvon Walker. They got Josh Allen. You add Mason Graham. Now, all of a sudden, remember when they struggled against Kansas City and they just could not beat Kansas City? It's because those guys up front. So you add a guy like Mason Graham, and now you have Josh Allen, you have Trayvon Walker. Now you have a formidable front that can stop the run, that can put pressure, guys that up front that can get after the quarterback and create some turnovers. That's what you need. I'm a big Travis Hunter fan, but not for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They need some beef in the interior of that defense.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I've got my list, and had you taken Travis Hunter with New England's pick, I was taking Mason Graham. He's the next guy on my list. I got both those guys together. But I'm thinking in this day and age with the way the game is played, you got to have people that can pressure that quarterback and heat up the defensive line. But weapons are so important. You get that guy who can make a difference. Malik Neighbors comes in and he does some things for the Giants offense. And Jamar Chase comes in and he does some things for that Cincinnati offense. and I think Travis Hunter will do the same thing. I've changed because when I was coaching, I was a defensive guy, and I'm looking for that solid linchpin in the defensive line. But now the way the rules are, give me those weapons that can score points.
But also think about this. I talked about Trayvon. I talked about Josh Allen on the outside. It's rare that you have guys on the outside. Then you have that interior guy like the Rams. Like to me, he reminds me of Braden Fisk, the Rams defensive tackle, because he can win inside. If you got guys that can win on the outside, guys that can win on the inside, it just makes it that much, more conducive to what you're trying to do.
That's what Philadelphia put together, and they're tough to deal with now because they've got guys all along that defensive line that you got to deal with.
So we're putting together the puzzle here, fellas. These are what the top 5 picks look like thus far. Rodney, he led us off with Cam Ward. Abdul Carter goes second. Shedeur Sanders to the Giants. Will Campbell then went 4th. And because of those picks, Coach then takes Travis Hunter at 5th overall there to the Jags.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.